everybody. We're gonna talk about grow your database, and I think you guys kind of figured from Ignite that the number one job in real estate is lead generation. So remember what I said, like every single day when you wake up, you're unemployed. And then you get a deal and you're all excited and you work it and you close it, you're unemployed. So that's why it's really, really important to have your pipeline full and continually filling that pipeline. So, and I will say, guys, I might wing it a little bit because I thought we were on session 11 and that's what I prepared for today, so. But I think I got lead generation. I think I got it figured out. So there's the agenda for today. So your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and a relationship with those names is really at the very core of what is building a real estate business is all about. You need to like pick up the phone when you run into people. You need to, the more you can, when I first took Ignite, I was thinking about this last night. There was 5 of us in the class. It was Valerie, it was Layla, myself, Sandra Chase, and I can't remember the other ones. But this really resonated with me because this is the mini version of bold. This is the doable bold. I don't think bold is doable. Nobody can get up, and well, maybe you can. I'm sorry, maybe some of you guys can, but I cannot. I'm not a robot. I cannot get up, follow the same schedule starting at 5:30 in the morning every single day. I can't schedule time with my grandchildren. I can't schedule time. You know what I mean? Like that's just not. That's not my life. So, but Ignite really, really resonated with me. And that's why I love teaching Ignite. So we talked about that the other day. Did I go the wrong way? There, your database. So a lot of people in the business call it their data bank because this is how you're going to pay your bills. This is basically your bank. So every time you deposit in your database, you're depositing a potential client. You're depositing in your earnings. So which part of the lead generation model, like the lead capture, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Leads, contacts, cultivating new, repeat, and referral. So most times when we talk to people, unless they're calling us on a listing, they're not in the mode right then to buy real estate. You want them in your database and you want to cultivate them over a period. I'm going to give you guys today kind of like a script that I use with people. So the platform, this is so huge. Like I'll give you an example of how diligent I was at first. I would go to, I think I told you guys this time, so if I repeat myself, just say, move on. Open houses, I love open houses. Open houses for me were great for picking up buyers, right? And when I put somebody in my database, and I would say to them, like I told you before, you know, can I have your name, number? I would ask for them. I didn't even care if I got their phone number. I wanted their email address and I wanted their mailing address. Because the very first thing I did was send them a thank you card, just like I said I was going to, right? So even now, when you meet somebody and you're talking to them, like when I say you have a conversation, like you want a pipeline of who you had a conversation with. If you have a good conversation with somebody and they give you a card and you say, hey, look, I have a really fun newsletter I put out every Friday. You know, it's really interesting. It's got the weather, it's got the stats, it's got what's happening in Halifax. It's a fun read. Can I put you in there? Can I add you to my database? If we talk about real estate a little bit, and I know that down the road they're going to be interested in real estate, then the next day, write them a little thank you card. It takes 5 minutes. You can go to the dollar store and buy them. Mine are printed now, but you can go to the dollar store and buy them. So, and the other thing that you want to do is you want to get them, okay, feed it every day. I guess I'm jumping ahead, guys, sorry. But when you get them in your database, remember there's set and forget Susie. We can't be a set and forget Susie, right? So yesterday, when I was doing my calls, so we have a set agenda for Tuesday when we get back to our meeting. We all have said, this is what we're doing. And these are the calls we're making. This is the script we're working with this week. So we all go back to the meeting on Tuesday, including me, and we have to have the names of who we called, and we have to have a little gist of the conversation, right? So that's why it's great having accountability partners. When you're talking to them, so what, yesterday, when I'm calling my people, my market leader's open and I'm making notes, right? So yesterday, when I called Tracy and Daryl Lowe yesterday, I haven't spoken, this is terrible, I know, but I haven't spoken to them. The last note was from 2018 in my database. So what's first 5 words, the best 5 words you can use when you're calling somebody? I was just thinking about you. Best 5 words to open up with. And then I talked to them exactly like I said to you guys the other day. Like, I was just thinking about you. My God, Tracy, it has been so long. First of all, I'm so sorry. The last few years, blame everything on COVID, people. COVID, right? The last few years have been absolutely nuts. And I apologize, I haven't been in touch. And then I see my notes from when I called them in 2018. And I say, you know, I know Lindsay was going to Antigonish there for school. What are the girls up to now? Well, they both moved out of home and they both live in Antigonish. Now that's in my notes, right? So you're having conversations with people. And if it's been a really long time since you talked to the person in your database, you don't have to come right out and ask them for business, you know, but you're having that conversation. And then the next question is, once we talked about the family. So Tracy, my God, isn't it nuts out there? I wanted to make sure. There's so much being said on television with real estate and what's going on. Do you have any questions, or do you have a certain perception of the market right now? And then her and I got in that conversation, right? And while we were in that conversation, she said to me, you know, the girls are now gone to Antigonish. Daryl and I, we're good here for another 10 years, Brenda. We're not leaving here till we're ready to go to like an apartment, right? They love their house. So, and then at the end I said, you know what, right now, Tracy, this is the best market for baby boomers. If you've got any friends or relatives or anyone in your world that is ready to make that move to an apartment, now is the time to sell. So I didn't come right out and say, who do you know? Yeah. The bold line, right? Who do you know that? Because I'm just not comfortable with that. So every time you go someplace, try and get a card. And literally, like, I'm not lying, you guys. I have cards in my I have over 5,000 people in my database. Remember, you only need 200 people in your database to build a successful business, according to Richard Roberts. So feed it every day and service all the leads. So communication, if you want to put a system in place, break it up and say, this today, I'm going to call the A's and the O's or the this or the that. So remember, I said to you guys, this room is so empty. Poor Alex, you're just stuck with me. I'm looking at Alex, everybody. Poor Alex. Remember, now I forgot what I was saying. Okay, communicate systematically. Yeah, I was saying
there's still 16 of us with you, Brenda. There's still 16 of us here.
Thank you. The never-ending referrals classes, like there's all kinds of things you can take online through KW, right? So when you get someone in you build a database, you add a person there, you're going to communicate with them. How are you going to communicate with them? You're going to set them up on an 8x8, or you're going to set them up. I only do an 8x8 once with people. Now we put people in. 8x8s are for people I know I'm going to be able to convert sooner than later. Everybody else you can go in your smart plan, get them on a smart plan. Get something that goes to their inbox every month to them. Every month.
Hey, Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of questions here. Everybody's wondering what an 8x8 is.
Oh, okay. Remember we talked the other day, I think on the first class I did, an 8x8. An 8x8 is 8 touches in 8 weeks. So when I used to go do open houses and not everything was digital, the first touch, week 1 would be Monday morning. Whoever was at my open house, they received a thank you card in the mail from me, hand addressed. The following week, because I use Market Leader, but I know Command is the same. Once you put them on an 8x8, 8 touches, the system will tell you what you do next. So the following Monday morning, you just pick up the card, you pick up the phone, that's a phone call, and you say, hey, I just wanted to touch base, make sure you got my card, to say thanks again for coming to the open house. Yeah, any questions on the property you saw or any thoughts on it? Just a really quick phone call on that one. The third week from me, they used to get, it was a little card and it had something just for you. And we would put little keychains that had a light on it. And then the fourth week, they got what did I send the fourth? This was a long time ago, guys. The fourth week, I think, was a really nice story. It was a really nice story. It just was a really enjoyable read that they received. At the time, we would mail things out. You can do them out. Then there was a phone call in there. Then there was another information sheet that was sent out. And then the last one was a phone call. So 8 touches in 8 weeks. If you go into command, into command under, what do they call them? Smart plans, look for 8x8. Yeah. If you Google Gary Keller's 8x8, you'll find one in it. So once they're on, you've touched them 8 times in 8 weeks, then you need to get them on a regular communication. So again, Market Leader has different newsletters that you can put out every month. They have ones, did you know? They go once a month and they're cute. You can put them on that system. You know, did you know you can clean windows with a dryer sheet? Right? And by the way, didn't work for me, but hey, it was a touch that went out there, so it was cute, right? So go into, everybody in your database should be on the smart plan. Everybody. You don't want to put anybody in your database and you're set and forget Susie. Right. So, and that's what I mean by service all the leads. And then if you want to, with the phone call system, because nobody taught me this when I got into real estate, picking up that phone is a really, really tough thing to do. No matter how many people say to you, you know, come from contribution or come from this or come from that, it is really hard to do. So if you find it really hard, there's a book I just listened to in my car and I love it. It's called Atomic Habits. Get it on Audible and put it on your car, and listen to it and make a habit of it. So if you're struggling with this, don't try and do an hour of calls every day. Do 2. Next day, do 3. The next day, do 4. Make it become a habit. You can make it a really small habit, and then it'll build into a big habit.
So Brenda,
Yep.
you were saying that you don't do the 8x8s anymore, right? And the other, okay,
I do if they're new.
if they're new. So once they're new and you do your 8x8,
Mhm.
do you recommend monthly touch or do you recommend quarterly?
Oh, monthly. Oh, quarterly.
Always.
Forget it. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I do weekly touches. So it's 33 to 36 touches a year. There is something out there. If you go online, what's his name? What's the guy's name in Toronto? Glenn McQueenie. Glenn McQueenie has a 36 touch you can do. Right? Mine, I have with mine between videos, I probably have about a 70 touch system. So, and it's funny, every Friday when we started the weekly newsletters, I love MailChimp, by the way, people. It's built into your thing. I love it. These MailChimp. You wouldn't believe on Fridays now. So this was only a few months ago where we said, oh, and plus they get a monthly newsletter from me. So they get 52 newsletters that come weekly, and they get 12. So now we're at 60 and 65. When I added them up, it was about 70 touches a year they get from me.
They get like a Merry Christmas or
Yeah. And you know what? I don't do Christmas cards. Because every agent does Christmas cards, right? So the first 2 weeks of January, I send out Happy New Year's cards with a $2 scratch ticket in it. And my clients love it, right? So if you're sending a Christmas card, I'm not saying don't send Christmas cards. I think it's a great idea. It's just that with me, every single thing an average agent does, I don't do that. Because you want to stand out.
I do Christmas cards to past clients, not everybody in my database gets like a touch, but like actual physical card, just go to.
Speak louder, Alex.
So I just I do like Brenda, kind of a mix of what Brenda does, like everybody gets a touch that's in the database, but only X actual closed clients get a Christmas card.
I do, I have probably done over between 800 and 900 transactions now. So I have my top 200, and my top 200 are the past clients that have given me business and my sphere of influence that gives me business. So that's who gets the New Year's cards.
That's your A list. I was going to ask that. I was going to say you don't do $10,000 worth of scratch tickets, but
I don't.
I will say something about that monthly newsletter. It could be coincidence. I don't know yet. Too early to tell about the ROI on this one. But I did my first newsletter, and since then I've now been dealing with 3+ past clients, and it just all happened after that newsletter came out.
That's right, because they saw you again.
Yeah.
Right? They remember what we talked about, the toothpaste? You got to be one of those top 3 toothpaste, top 2 toothpaste. They're not going to think about you, right? So
You want to be Crest or Colgate.
that exactly. So
Colgate Total.
right.
That's right.
So my coach, like when we're, like I said before, I coach through the Tom Ferry system, the one I happen to like. And the communications, a lot of times what she'll show me what other people are doing. And remember what I said, R&D is rip off and duplicate. So I saw a weekly newsletter this guy was sending out, and I thought, well, that's kind of cute. It's really not much. I was just about him, right? And if you make it too much about you, they're not going to be interested. So we took ours and said, oh, okay, well, let's put the weather on there. Let's put the weekly stats on there. Let's stick a video on there. Let's stick home tips on there. And let's stick all the Halifax events happening that week on there. Right. And when we started, like I said, it went out to 5,000 people. We started it a couple months ago. And every Friday, you guys, I get like unsubscribe. And I'm like, I don't care. Right. So I stuck every lead that came over the years from Sync and Brivity and all those crazy systems that I tried. We moved them all into there. Any ahas? No?
It's just so simple, but nobody does it.
Nobody does it.
It's
Alex is
so
saying it's so simple and no one does it.
So that's something big, like, I had a coaching call yesterday with Maps, and they were pushing that on me, and she said, because I struggle with my lead gen, because I have a mindset that it has to be cold calling or door knocking, there's no other way. And luckily, this coach I'm with, her thing, she hated both those ways too, and she said her thing is building, what she called them, building like circles. And she said, just be the realtor. She said, like, it's so easy. Just talk to people, talk to your mechanic, like, and she said, and be the person that sends people, because the law of reciprocity is, even if they have an agent, if you all of a sudden send this one electrician or painter 6 jobs or 2 jobs, they all of a sudden feel indebted.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. It's just reaching out to people, and you don't, like I said, you don't have to be, you know, the bold type person. I'm not a bold, I'm not a D. Everyone thinks I'm a D, people. I know Linda swears I'm a D, don't you, Linda? But I'm
You
not.
are definitely an ID for sure.
I am an ID. I am high I with some D. I'm only D when Mother Bear comes out, but when it comes to somebody else, that's when the D comes out. But the high I, so I don't like to call and say to somebody, hey, do you know anyone that's buying or selling? Like, you know, the bold conversation. Yeah, I'm just calling business. I'm not going to talk. Do you know anyone that might be buying or selling right now? Oh, really? Okay, I don't have time to talk to you later. Boom. Anybody that's been in bold class, is that not a bold It's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just bullshit. It's not you. Just be yourself. 4 people I talked to yesterday on the phone, there's not a chance they're selling their house. I know that. but I had a great conversation with them. So, right? Make sure you pick up the phone, like your past clients, right? Text them or call them on their birthdays. Put all their birthdays in your calendar. That's what I liked about Market Leader. So Market Leader has a birthday program. So does Command, I think, doesn't it? Yeah. Get them on that. But here's the thing. You stick them on the birthday command, right? And you see that the birthday card's gone out, call them. Call them. So this is what I used to do. Because Market Leader, at the time, you could only put one birthday in years ago. So we would take it off the FinTrack. So say John and Carol McPherson, and it comes up, there's a birthday. So I would pick up the phone, because I didn't know if it was John or Carol's birthday. So I pick up the phone, I go, somebody's got a birthday there today. And they go, yeah, it's Carol's, or oh yeah, it's mine. So I never knew. And then like we have, say, touches for past clients. So we have touches at 3 months, we have touches at 6 months, we have touches at 9 months, we have touches at 1 year. Right? And those touches I just made some phone calls the other day. Well, the one I made the other day was to Janet Chippen. Janet, oh my God, it's 3 months you've been in the condo. What do you think? Are you loving condo life? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't ask her for any business. Now, what I used to do years ago, before everything got
Oh,
digital.
sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I used to have a letter that went out with a bag of popcorn. And it would say, oh my God, it's been 3 months. You're finally unpacked. You've gone through so much. You deserve to sit down, watch a movie, and enjoy a bag of popcorn. And they would get that in the mail. And people loved it. Right? So I don't do that anymore. Put their anniversaries in there. Right? You can go to BlueMax online and you can, for $25, you can have flowers delivered to somebody on their 1 year anniversary to say happy anniversary to them. Right?
I went to Costco and did the movie theater tickets for my first few
Mhm.
and gave them a night out.
Yeah, people love it. They absolutely love it. Or you can, another here's a lead generation system that is old as the hills, is you offer to throw a housewarming party for when they buy their new house. And you supply the food and this and that, and they invite 15, 20 people over, and you've paid for it, and you go over and schmooze for a little while. Right? Here's another great lead generation tip is if somebody firms up and they close and they get their big basket, deliver it to where they work, not their house. And then where that person, I mean, COVID kind of messed that one up, but a lot of people are back to work now. And then you can send it because then other people see it. So, I mean, you are doing it to be nice. Don't get me wrong, but come on, guys, our job is to continually look for new business, right? And the people in the office, they come in. The other thing is that when we ask for Google reviews go out for me when they're firm, not when they close. Because when they close, they're busy. They're super busy and you're chasing them
And potentially stressed.
and stressed.
Like they're, I don't know, probably 30% of closings have some sort of a snaggle.
Yeah.
So ask them for a review after they just fought to get garbage moved from
Yeah.
the garage.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, and they just get busy. They're unpacking and they're doing this and they're doing that, and they're doing this, right? So, but have a system of touches. So, and we have a very special touch letter that goes out as soon as they firm up too, right? So yeah, so like I said, build your database. If anybody wants to watch some coaching, go on to YouTube and watch Tom Ferry. Tom Ferry is, and I love maps, please, I'm not disrespecting anybody. But Tom Ferry is the largest real estate coaching system in the world. And you can go watch him for free. And that's how I got started. I was in maps. Maps wasn't for me. It was, just wasn't, I didn't have the same principles and I didn't want to use the same systems. I didn't agree with them. So I just got out of that. And I said, I'm going to start watching Tom Ferry. I started watching his videos. I read his book. And as soon as I read his book, I signed up for his coaching. And I've been coaching now with them for probably going on 5-6 years with him. So at a minimum, each contact should have name, contact, and past business record. I don't know, but. Well, yeah, past business record, I suppose, if they're client or not. But remember, like, put notes in. Put notes in. I have notes now. I have not called this guy in eons, but this guy came up a few weeks ago. I met him at an open house in 2011. And the notes are in there. Haven't called him since 2011 either, by the way. So he's not one of the ones I called, right?
He's not in your top two.
He's not my top 200, but even catching up, like, because I really wasn't taught properly how to do this, you know, the first, like, probably 4 years of my database, they're just gone, like, forget. Except for my top ones that I got out of my first few years. So you want their name, you want their contact information, know a little bit about them, ask some family questions, so that when you call them, like I called Joey Hawkins this morning. And I said, oh my God, Joey, I cannot believe how cute Haley's getting. How old is she now? Right? And the last time I was talking to them through COVID, I knew that they were homeschooling. So I said, are you still homeschooling? So every conversation I have, so when you're building your database, use your notes, put your notes in there. Right? Because as your database builds, you'll forget people.
Everything that you're saying is really good for building a relationship as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Like really good relationship with these people.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, you're gonna meet people that don't want to give you their information, or like I'd be at an open house and, you know, ask them for their information. Oh, no, I don't want to give you anything. All right, fuck you, right? Just next, move on. Don't waste your time or energy on. And here's what I say to people. So I called a guy the other day. He came in through SEO onto my site, and his name is Manish. So I called him up and said, hi Manish, I saw you visited our site. I want to take a minute just to say thank you so much. Was there anything special you were looking for on my site? And he said, well, I'd like to buy something in around the Brookline area, and my budget's about 1.2 million. And I said, all right. And I said, you currently own or you rent? Well, I own, and I'm going to keep that and rent it. And I said, oh, okay. I said, Manish, do you have a realtor in your world that you consider your realtor that you could call at any time? And he said, no, I don't. And I said, Manish, I'd like to earn the right to be your real estate consultant. Do you have time this week that we could grab, you know, a quick coffee and I'll drop a package off to you? I promise I'll take 10 minutes of your time. And he said, well, that doesn't, you know, sound too bad. And I said, just so that you know, I am not a pushy in your face agent. I treat people how I like to be treated. And he said, how's Friday at 3 o'clock? So that's where I'm going today.
Sorry.
Oh, no, no problem.
So Brenda, what's the package that you give him?
Buyer's package.
My package has been developed over the years. I have a buying package and a selling package. It's just so much information, Holly, it's hard to describe.
Okay, so it's not just a buyer's presentation, it's a few other things or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot in the package, but you know, you could build a basic package yourself. You can grab little cards and people up there, put a letter in there about yourself.
Right, okay, I get you, yeah.
Yeah.
My value proposition.
Yeah, I'm not big on my value proposition. So when I go in, when I meet with somebody, I don't talk about myself. I'm not an I person, right?
Right, yeah.
Everybody's an I person. You know, my first question is with people, what's the most important thing that I can do for you to help you achieve your real estate dreams? Tell me about you.
Right, good one, yeah.
Once they start to talk about themselves, if I go into a listing appointment, I read my mission statement. I read our core values, which is not about me. It's simply that. It's a mission statement for our company. It's the core values of how our company runs. Then I talk about them. I do not talk about myself, right? Once I start my listing presentation, then there are things in there that relate to how we are going to market and get them top dollar for their house. I'm still not talking about myself.
Right.
I'm still talking about them. the whole time. So yeah, so enter them in. This is a really good one. So you enter them in. If they come in, if you guys remember, like work the SEO on your website, try and get people in on your website. The more things you can do for them. I just heard that the command website has come up quite a bit.
It's, yeah, they're doing a lot of releases over the next 5 to 6 weeks.
Right, yeah. So I have a really good website that I've had for years. I've worked really hard on it. You just, the BrendaK.ca, you go into the market leader site, which is BrendaKSellsHalifax.com. So I just finishing up, spending $5,000 on SEO and redoing the site. Right, because there's just so much competition out there. I know for new agents, it's kind of tough to say, go spend $5,000 on your website. That it's still connected to the search and the home value of market leader. So it's still coming into my database. So, you know, and remember, if you want to build your own website, says, I want my website to be BrendaK.ca. I don't want BrendaK@KW or World of Page or BrendaK Sells Halifax. I want BrendaK.ca. That's my website, right? So you can build a website and you can connect your command, what you want in your command, or use the command. Because apparently now you got more tabs across the top, you guys, you can add all these things now.
Mhm.
There's a
Yeah.
lot going on with it. I haven't caught up yet from Baylor Union's release.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is changing command too. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But like I said, market leader is what KW used when I came to the company. And you can always see what they were searching for. Right? I can see who's been on, what they looked at, blah, blah. Command, you couldn't do that. But I think now in command you can, can't you?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Has anybody got their computer open that you could peek at your command for someone you have on a search? Has anybody got someone set up on a search in command?
Nope.
I think it's if they have your app. You can look in through it somehow and see what they've been up to.
Yeah, see, that's a difficult way to do it. So
Yeah,
we go into market leader every morning. And hey, listen, don't get me wrong, I need my hand slapped because when you get super busy, you don't go in every morning. But so that is one thing I tell anybody out there with me today that's new. Check your command, your market leader, whatever you're using, check your database first thing every morning. Your command and see if there's anyone come in, see if there's anything, you know, go to your website. I don't know how each person has things set up, but in market leader, I get anything in through command.
and then,
So
and if anybody's doing like searches with Collab Center and Paragon. That right below your market monitor, it tells you how many times in the last X amount of days those
Yeah.
people have opened their Collab Center.
right.
Like I have one guy who opens it once every 3 weeks, and I have another guy who opens it 5 to 6 times a day.
Right. The only ones I put in my Paragon, Alex, is my buyers that are
Active.
close to buying.
Yeah.
They're active.
Yeah.
And I learned the hard way, because when you get busier and you get too many, right? So I probably have 40 to 45 people right now on a search. Everybody that comes, here's a trick, guys. Everybody that comes into your database, if they come in, so you've got someone visited me through SEO and I see what they're looking at and they haven't set up a search, I set them up on a search. Because you want things to go to them. So even when I reach out to them, like market leader, they don't have to get the phone number. That's one thing about market leader. You can come onto my site, you can look whatever you want. You do not have to give your phone number, but I have your email, right? So the first thing I do is say, what did they look at? And then I set them up on a search. Right? And that's the way, and I
You
set
set them up, you set them up on a search through Paragon or through your website?
through the website.
Okay.
I'm not gonna muddy up my Paragon. Right? Because if I, like every time with Paragon, I get an email when a new property comes. I don't want my email would be, I just cleaned out my Paragon.
You can shut that off.
Pardon me?
You can shut that off so it doesn't come to you.
I have to see it. It's my job. Right? Don't be a set it and forget it, Susie. Do you know how many buyers I picked up? And I say, you're working with a realtor? Yeah, I had someone at open house there about 6 months ago, and they send me listings, well, I never hear from them. Guess who they bought with? That is set it and forget it, Susie. If you have serious buyers, that's your job to know what's going to them. And then you pick up the phone and you say, hey, Mike, did you happen to see what came through that today? What do you think of it? Or just the opposite. Hey, Mike, I saw that one come through. It doesn't really meet what you need or what you told me, but remember I said I can't get the parameters that tight. Don't be
Okay, so I guess what it comes down to is due to money and costs and everything else right now, for me, I'm using Paragon kind of the same as you. So the ones that are active, I get the emails for the updates. The ones that aren't active, they're still in there, but I can still see, like Alex said, I can see what they're doing. So if something pops up, I'll just resend it back to them and say, hey, what do you think about this one? This kind of meets what we were discussing, 2 months ago. So
if you-
yeah, I am using it, but I'm using it the same way as you, but I categorize it by removing myself from some of them from being BCC'd, and the ones that are active, I stay BCC'd. So yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So, okay, so on the opposite, the ones that are not actively coming to me, they're in my search, they're in Market Leader. And when I go into Market Leader, I can see what they looked at and what came up. Right? So my active buyers right now, they are coming to me and I open them. And the other reason I open them too, is even if I'm driving along and I see one, well, not when I'm driving, I don't know my email, but I'll look at it. And in this market, in the last 3 years, you need to open it. When you see one come in and call your client and say, hey, did you see what just came up? I know you're probably busy at work. This is a great price. It's a great deal. We need to get in there tonight. So it makes a big difference. So if they're not actively viewing homes with me, they're not in Paragon. Right. I used to do it. I don't anymore. But whatever system works for you guys, there's no right or wrong. Right? But the thing about putting them in your command for the search is that when you go in, like I said, instead of being inundated with your emails or having to look at your market monitor, you open up your database every morning, like every realtor should, and then mine pop up and say, who's been on? So at the top of my sheet, so those are my emails and that I work with first thing in the morning. Right. So check out command, your database on Connect, on under technology. So there's all the training. Oh my God, guys, use the training. When I first came to KW, the KW University, oh my God, I loved it.
It's all still there and way more.
I love it. I love it. One of the first ones that I signed up to was Make Your Phone Ring Again with Brad Korn, probably back in 2011, maybe. And that's where I got my letters that go out. My 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, 9 month, 12 month. So I'd like to say all those ideas just popped in my head, but I'd be lying. Any ahas from that? Oh, wow, I didn't.
Tom Ferry's free YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm gonna go there.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. So try and watch a video every week. So we have a line in our team meetings. There's a line that says, what video did you watch and what did you learn? And everyone's gonna have something in there, including me. So set it in your mind. You're gonna watch a video every second week. Make yourself a weekly sheet. What are 3 things I want to accomplish this week? What video did I watch this week and what did I learn from it? Put whatever you want on the sheet. Where am I at? I have quite a sheet that I have to fill out every Monday for my coach. And it has every single week, I need to look at where I'm supposed to be based on where I forecasted and where I'm at now. And let me tell you, this year, it's not that fun looking at that. Right?
That was tough.
No, no, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah. Any other ahas?
I
No?
think it's just nice to hear. I hesitated doing some of the training things that were costly. just because I felt that how I like to operate my business wasn't really what they were trying to get us to do in some of them. And it's just nice to hear that you feel the same way, and kind of alleviates my guilt, I think. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to go to a training that you're comfortable with. All the first trainings I did, they were all KW. They all were KW. The language of sales, best thing I took. And I think they still offer that. One of the best ones I took. Diana Kokoska, language of sales. Right? Make your phone ring again. Huge, right? So I'm 16 years in the business now. I'm doing one called Never Ending Referrals, right? So we've got a room booked. We've got 3 weeks from now, and the team's in for the entire day, watching every video, doing it all of one day of training after I've taken it all these weeks. Look at those courses, right? They're really good. Or watch Tom Ferry videos. I'm sure there's Richard Robbins out there too. There's all kinds of them.
There's all kinds.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like, I don't know, I used to be bad for taking my lunch break, because I work at my at-home office. I take my lunch break and I watch an episode of a show that I'm watching in the evenings. And then I started like, no, like watch something, like you said, like a Tom Ferry, or there's there's so many
Yeah.
YouTube channels, like these big teams from the States, like Ryan, like he's a big Instagram guy, like Ryan
Yeah.
Serhant, or any of them.
Yeah.
Whether you take actual inspiration or actual like knowledge from it, something to get you back in the office for the afternoon.
That's right. And all you need is like one aha. I would say the two that I would say to subscribe to today, guys, subscribe to Tom Ferry on YouTube and subscribe to Jason Pantana. Jason Pantana is Sandra Pike's personal coach. Right? So he is coaching.
Pantana. Sorry, Brenda.
Pantana. Yeah. Jason Pantana. Jason Pantana's coaching is 2,000 American a month. We all know Sandra Pike. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Did you did you see her newest billboard? She's
oh my God. Well, you know what? I saw the proofs. She sent me the proofs, so I knew it was going up.
Yeah.
So, okay, so here you go. There you got an agent like that. Okay. With the amount of business that she does, she is a 7-figure earner, and she's doubling down on everything this year. Right?
Right.
So am I. I'm doubling down on everything. So a lot of agents right now are saying, oh, I don't know what's coming in this year. I don't want to spend any money, right? So my first quarter is going to be so far in the hole for marketing, I'm going to have a heart attack when I see my statement. Advertising and marketing is an investment in yourself. It's not an expense. And that is a fight I had for 27 years in the family business, because they didn't look at it that way.
I think
Right.
that's the fight a lot of us there, Brenda, that have been in the business for 3 years and under, or maybe even Alex might feel this way too. I don't know. He's been around for about 5, but for the 3 and under, kind of, it's really a hard concept to go spend the money that really you may or may not have to, obviously, you got to spend money to make money, but it's a hard concept to get around.
You're right. You're right. And here's the thing. If you don't invest in yourself, you're guaranteed you won't get any. You won't get any more. If you don't change what you're doing, you're going to remain the same. Right? So when I built my budget, so has everybody here built their budget for next year? Does everyone here know what they want to make?
Yep.
Have you put down all your expenses?
Yep.
And you allocate 10% to marketing. Right?
Good.
So mine, when I do my budget, I have my personal page, and then I have my, based on what I want to earn that year, then I have to put in, okay, how much are these listings going to cost me? So I got to add in all my signs, all the blah, blah, blah that goes with listings, right? And then I've got to add in all my marketing. And I allocate 10% of what I have posted to earn this year. So my 10% is going out way, and it's dedicated way before I know if that money's gonna come in this year. But if I don't do what I have for my budget, I know for a fact I'm not gonna get where I wanna get this year. Right? So kind of floating along is not gonna work anymore in the market. And the other thing is that there's been 400 agents come in this business in the last 3 to 4 years.
So where do you get ballpark figures if it's your first year as to what, to create that budget as to what your expenses will be?
So what you do is you start with what you want to make and you work backwards. So the first thing I do is I say, okay, what do I need to pay my bills? That's the first thing. How much money do I need to bring into my house to pay my bills? So say my bills were $5,000 every month. So I know I need enough business to do that, to pay those. And then you say, okay, like for instance, I said the first year I get in, I said, I want to do at least 12 deals this year. And then I looked at, based on the average commission, what those 12 deals would bring in for money. And I looked and I said, okay, do I have enough to pay my bills? Now I was lucky because at that time, my husband, we still had our company, right? And then all of a sudden in 2009, the company is gone and I have no security and boom, I'm the only earner in the family. Right? So then I had to sit down and say, okay, now I need to do this much business to pay our bills. To do this much, it builds itself. And then you look and you say, okay, this is what I need to, all I wanted was break even. What do I need to pay my bills? So you put that down, do your personal one first. And then say you need $60,000 to pay all your bills. And like I said, I look at breaking, and when I say pay all your bills, on top, my personal sheet has everything. It has haircuts, it has Christmas gifts, it has vacation, it's got what I would spend on a visa during the year. It has everything, every penny that we use. And anybody that does not have a personal budget like that, and you're in real estate, do one. You need it. And then if I would say, okay, I know I need $60,000 to live life. How am I going to get it? Am I going to get it from buyers or I'm going to get it from sellers? I like listings. If I say I'm going to get it from listings, then I have to say, okay, how many listings do I need to get? And how many are they going to, what's that going to cost me? So say I need 10 listings. What are 10 listings going to cost me? Is signs, pictures, what do I do for marketing? Am I going to spend $5 on command for every listing? You sit and you do the math, then you put that in there.
Say 500 to 600 on an average. Some will be more,
Some will be less.
Yeah.
Yeah,
500.
yeah. And I had $3 million properties last year that by the time I got them, 3 of them to the market, I had a $4,400 bill for marketing.
For each or for the 3?
For the 3, right? So add that in, or if you say, a lot of people say, I'm just gonna go for buyers at first because there's no money. They don't cost you anything.
Time of gas,
Time and gas, that's it. Yeah,
maybe some lunches.
yeah. And then put your fees in. You've got your NSAR fees, every other fee that's associated with it. Right? And then put in a 10% budget for marketing. So what I would do is I would add up all my personal, all my business, and I'd say, what's my average commission? And I put that in. I have, mine's all calculated on a spreadsheet. It automatically adds up at the bottom and it says, to do what you want to get to where you want to be, live life and make some money this year, just to break even, you have to sell 48 or you have to sell 50 or you have to sell 12. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's what I want to see. What do I need to break even? Right? And then your goal is to say, once I get past these, whatever I need to break even, that's profit. That's money. So you do work hard to get to that. But if you've got, does everybody here have a complete budget made out?
Yes.
No. I wouldn't say complete.
Yeah.
Define complete.
Define complete, Holly, is that if there was absolutely nobody else in your world that was putting one dime towards your life, what do you need to live life? To pay your bills, get your hair cut, service your client, put gas in your car, put your insurance on your car. What do you need?
Right, a sugar daddy.
Right. So do I.
But no, I hear what you're saying though.
Yeah.
So I'll just add to that. Keller Williams last year had Dave Ramsey show up. My wife and I don't agree with everything that he does, but his little theory for paying off all your debt, he has 7 baby steps. I highly recommend just to review what those 7 baby steps are to get out of your debt to lessen those bills as best you can. But he has an app for those that have an iPhone. It's not working for Android as far as I understand, but it's every dollar. It's just called Every Dollar.
Mhm.
And you can do everything through that if you want to try that first, but put all your have tos in. So for definitely the newbies, have tos. Do you have to spend Christmas presents? That's up to you, but right. But your have tos, what do you have to pay? And then work it out and figure out what you need to do, exactly what Brenda was saying. But that little budgeting app is a great app.
Do you guys know that most realtors, and it worked this way for me, and I remember having a conversation with Jerry and Annette many years ago, is most realtors use all their line of credit in the winter, Christmas, the winter, up into the spring. They get their business, they pay off all their line of credit. The next year they're doing their business, they're using their line of credit, they're living on their line of credit,
Horrible.
paying it off in the spring, right? If you want to avoid that roller coaster, pick up the phone, pick up the phone. You have to pick up the phone. So yeah, so feed your database. And again, prospecting and marketing, you know, what are you putting out there for marketing? So I have 2 objectives with my company. My past job at Chris Brothers, because we just had the retail. So my role at Chris Brothers was to brand the Chris Brothers, build the Chris Brothers brand outside of a Chris Brothers store. We had no business, and I was up against Brothers, right? Now, everybody knows who Chris Brothers is, right? So that worked. So I did the same, took the same approach with Brenda Kay. Even before it was Brenda Kay's Halifax Home Selling Group, when it was just little old me doing nothing, right? I worked hard to get the brand out there. So then you can say to people, I market to bring people to my brand. I bring people to my brand. They see your listings, right? So if anybody ever was to read my book on selling, the first chapter of the book says that as a listing agent, I have 2 roles. I'm not a salesman. I am, okay, so I don't get in trouble because I said that on TV a few weeks ago. I got in big trouble. I am a licensed salesperson with the Nova Scotia Real Estate Commission. Okay, there, I said, I know that. I have 2 roles as the listing agent. The first role is to market your property. Market your property so that I attract a buyer. My second role is to negotiate the highest price for you. Does that work for you? That's the first things I say to people when I walk into a listing point. So get out there. Get on. Look at, have you guys noticed how much is going on social media now with realtors? Oh my Lord.
They, yeah,
Every third thing on my Facebook now is, do you want to know your home value?
Yeah. And sometimes you click on it and you go right to a form. So I don't know how successful those ones are, because I mean, I just don't know, because obviously I'm not going to fill out the form, but
Most people are just curious, Holly.
yeah, I was part of that pack a month and a half ago. I ran one. And I think I got 7 leads. 3 actually replied and answered. And well, the other 4 haven't at least yet. And they were just like, yeah, I didn't realize what I was clicking on. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I actually have an agent. They name dropped. So they at least,
If they have an agent, they name drop you.
there's a good chance that they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I still stick them in my database.
Yeah.
Anybody that signs up for a form, I mean, I've done it too. Everybody does it. Right? So the other morning I wake up and who signs in through it was not one of those ads, it was something else that I had out there. And who signs in but Dawn Rainey from Roll the Page. So I texted him right away when I got up and I said, hey, Don, you can just call me direct to say hi. Yeah. Right, so realtors are looking at who's doing what out there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, rip off and duplicate, look at some of the things other people are doing outside the box with social media. So your sphere will generate new repeat and referral business. So the majority of my business is repeat. One of the things I learned years ago, anybody that's been in the business for more than a year, take a spreadsheet and write down every deal you did last year. And next to that, write down where it came from. And then you'll know where you need to work on. Mine's my database. Right? So 85% of my business comes from my database and my sphere. Right? When you get a person that comes in, they call it the top of the funnel. You know, they could be anywhere from 12 to 14 months out from buying, like some of these buyers that come through. So I had a lady a couple years ago, and her and I got talking. She came in through my system, and her and I got talking, and she said she's going to be thinking of moving down here in a year. Do you know how fast a year goes? Like a year goes by really fast. So this is where it's important. Don't forget, don't be a set it and forget it, Susie. Right? I sold them a $1.4 million house. So they come down here for a visit. Her and I were talking. I took them out. Took them to a pub, and we had some lunch, and talked about. I did, my whole buyers thing. We connected. They weren't even sure at the time if they were coming for sure, right? But once I got her in there, I kept talking to her, communicating with her, and then, like I said, it was actually about 14 months later when they moved down. And she bought a $1.4 million house. Now, had I been a set it or forget it, Susie, would I have got that deal? Absolutely would not have got that deal. Again, like your same slide come up again, because this is so important. If you watch anything about Richard Robbins, he says you only need 200 people in your database. So I go to all kinds of different trainings, not necessarily that I'm coaching through them, but once in a while, we'll go up to Toronto and watch somebody else. I went to a Richard Robbins one, and one of the agents that they brought up on stage to talk, name is Peter Brower. Peter Brower's been in the business a little bit longer than I have. And he had said 2015 was a brutal year, a brutal year in real estate here. And he had got up on stage and said that he was ready to quit. And then he met and talked to Richard Robbins. And Richard Robbins said, pick your 200 people and work with them. So his business is bigger now than it's ever been. Right? And he has clients, events, things like that. That's huge right now. Does everyone realize that? Having client events?
There's a lot of people doing it.
Yeah.
What, I'm sorry, having client what?
Client events.
Oh,
That's the newest rage the last 4 or 5 years. Like
oh,
NAS.
like having a party and inviting them and stuff? Or a
Yeah,
speaking
NAS
party or
claiming,
something?
yeah, NAS claiming throws a $10,000 Christmas party. Right?
Probably more than that now.
Probably more than that, right? But NAS's GCI is close to $2 million a year, so he can afford it. It doesn't have to be big. If you want to do something little, like we just did a call in to win, right? We had 49 people call in. We got 4 buyers, and I got a listing out of it, right? I got a partner in on it. I got to deliver the prize today. I got an insurance person in on it. So he put in $500 and I put in $500, right? You can, you see all those ones out there? You guys see all the ones with tag, like, share, and you could win? Is that getting you names?
No.
That's not getting you any contact information, right? So it doesn't matter how many followers you have on your Instagram or your Facebook, if you're not getting business off them. So like our job is to get their names. So what I used to do, what Alex and I used to do, is we would put out for $100 gift card. And we would collect some names. Right, so it doesn't have to be a big thing, right? I don't do client events. I'm not I work hard and I treat my clients really well. We tried one client event, one Halloween. It was okay. You know, I got sponsors for the giveaways and this and that, but it was a lot of work. And for the amount of time I spent putting that together, I could have been sitting on the phone talking to people.
Well, like what you just said, you did, you kind of did what they call a reversible 100.
Mhm.
When you try to make 100 people call you,
Yeah,
first calling 100.
yeah,
I was gonna say the same thing, Alex.
yeah, that's right. And I had 49 calls, right? And then the other team members, they had their own calls. Because everybody was out there and putting it out on the social media, right? And then what I was doing the other day was calling other people on the list, saying, you know, thanking them for taking part in it. Having a little chat, like, do you have any questions right now about real estate, anything I can help you with? No, I'm good, no, I'm not, no, all right. Hey, no problem, I got this great newsletter, you know, it has this, it has that, can I put you in there? Yeah, sure, go ahead. Right, so you got all kinds of conversations. Right, so now I added 49 people in my database the other day. Testimonials and reviews, build your Google business pages. Does everybody know what a Google business page is? Has everybody built their Google business page?
On building,
Yes.
Building?
well, it's running. Oh, yeah, I only got like 7 degrees on.
I still
Um,
can't get the darn code from them over a year and a half. I just sent it out again to try to get the code sent.
Really? I'm not a techie, I'm sorry, I don't understand that. I don't even remember how I did mine. Yeah, your Google business page, if you use that as, there's a lot of things you can add to it if you go under products, right? So if anybody Googles me and sees over the side my Google business page, you'll see like blogs in there. You'll see, you know, it's not, I don't use my Google business page for just sold, just listed, things like that. There's just all kinds of things in there. I don't have as many reviews as I should, because again, it's not something we did years ago. I have a letter that is so nice. I'm gonna frame it, but that was from years ago. But there are so many people that I sent Google review requests out for, not that they didn't like me, I hope, but people get busy and they forget. So every once in a while, I'll sit down and I'll call a couple people and say, hey, look, I'm doing this new Google business page. Can I text you over? Text it to them, it's quicker. And I'll try and collect a few. If Google sees you upload 5 or 10 or 15 reviews all at once, you might get tagged. Because they'll think you're adding them yourself.
I have tried to make it so easy by providing a link to clients. All they have, it's one click, just one click. If you have a Gmail account, it's just one click,
I
and
know.
it's worked. And I've gotten a few really sweet reviews, but it is like pulling teeth. It's something
is.
else.
It is. Yeah, yeah. And you know, I remember one guy that, because we send ours out when we firm up, and this deal had been a nightmare. And even the other agent had said at the time, and I was very happy that they did say this, but had they had a different agent than me on the other side, it would not have come together, because they would have lost their shit. It was bad. And I got everything fixed for my seller. I mean, everything happened. And then when we sent it through for the Google review, we firmed up, because there was probably 4 times everyone thought it was going to fall apart. And I sent it to, and you know what he said? He sent me back. And he said, well, I'm not going to give you a review right now because you haven't actually closed the property yet. And I want to make sure you can do your job all the way through.
Holy smokes.
Right? People are pricks.
It's funny. My most recent one, they did the review, and I great relationship with them, so sweet. And they were like, don't worry, we're gonna do it. And he said the same thing. He's like, we'll do it when we close. And I was like, thanks. Here's the link for the 3rd time. Click
Yeah.
it and write. But yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. I have a little thing that used to be on my cards, that said, you know, the greatest compliment you can give me is a referral. I promise to take great care of anyone you send my way. That's a really good little line to send out with your text. And
Yeah,
let them
that's
know
a nice
the
one.
greatest compliment they can give you is a referral of friends or family. I
Yeah,
get
I
better responses with that. Yeah. What areas of business or customer service could you ask someone to provide a testimony or review on? I mean, everything there, they tend to, depends on, I have some really long ones. And then I have some that I think they're gonna write something really nice and they give me 5 stars. I'm like, what? It's great getting 5 stars.
But no words.
They don't say anything, right? Yeah. Any ahas out of that, guys? No? I feel like I let you guys down when there's no ahas.
No, I think my aha from that is just, you know, to see someone that's, you know, knowledgeable and is experienced and someone that does as killer of a job as you do to still be trying to get those reviews. I'm like, okay, it's not just me.
It's not.
That's a
It's
relief.
not. Yeah. How many times when you think about yourself and me or you or anybody, someone, you look at something on your phone and you go, oh yeah, I'll do that later. And you forget about it. Right? So me, I'm, if I get a text and I read it and I know, okay, I need to deal with this later, maybe just because I'm old, but what I do now is I snap a picture of it and I email it to myself. Because I know I'm reading all my emails before I go to bed every night. Because I'll forget. Because then you'll get 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 texts past that one. Right? So.
Yeah.
That's just me in my old age. Communicate with your database. Like I said, guys, go on and look at the smart plans. You got to stay in touch with them. Look at, I printed it off for the team. It's Glenn McQueenie. I'm sorry, I can't remember where I got it, but it's somewhere on the KW site. And it's Glenn's 36 touches. If you Google, Gary Keller's 33 touch. Go look at the smart plans. But they say to stay top of mind, you need 33. Yeah. I sent out a letter, an email a couple weeks ago. I actually got 2 listing appointments and it had 1 line on it. And it said, if I could get you this blank, no, this much blank for your house, would you sell this spring? That's all I said, 1 line. I got 2 listing appointments. Yeah. I got a couple idiots that said, yeah, give me $1 million for my split entry in Forest Hills, but you're always gonna get those, right? Yeah. So there you go. That one has 5,000 people.
Still, you could be like, well, I might not be able to get you $1 million, but I could probably get you half of that.
It's getting in the door.
Yeah.
So like the one I went on in Glen Arbor, I do a 2-step listing presentation. So the one I'm going back to on Tuesday in Glen Arbor, you're not gonna be able to get them 900. But I've already had my first presentation with them, so now they know me, like me, trust me. Right? So you present it, and then you say there's 3 ways you can price it, and then you start in on that and see. And then stay in touch with them. Really stay in touch with them.
So you go back and actually lay out the CMA.
Yeah, my CMAs are, they're really intense. They're a spreadsheet and it's all math. It's all math, right down to the square foot, the age of the house. I worked with, sat with Joe Bootler years ago and this was put together. So the numbers never lie. So that's what I tell people.
Yeah.
The numbers never lie. And we can price whatever you want. But the numbers, math is math.
Yeah.
Math is math, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I always say to people, even if the world's stupidest buyer came along with the world's stupidest agent and paid you this much more money for your house, as soon as the bank does an appraisal, you're not going to meet appraisal. Right?
Yeah.
So I was down one in Mahone Bay a few weeks, well, probably about a month ago. The math come to 1.5, a little over 1.5. They want $2.2 million for their house. That's what they think it's worth. There's not a chance, there's not a chance. It's worth that. Right?
Yeah.
So. But some agent will list it for 2.2 million. And when. He'll either get them to drop the price or they'll change their mind about selling. So sometimes you're better off being the second agent in. On those deals.
Yeah.
Right? Because over and over and over again, this has happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to some people out there. Is your clients don't listen to you, your listing expires, they list with somebody else and they reduce to the price you told them.
Oh, that's gotta be the worst thing ever.
It is, it happened to me. 2 years
Oh.
ago.
Yeah,
I was the first agent. I took the seller's price. My CMA was $399. They wanted $469. And we went at $469, and it was obviously prior to COVID. And we sat, and I got her down to 4.25, and we sat, and eventually it was just done. And the next week, I was begging her to go to $399.
Mhm.
The next week, Cindy Jardine came in and went $399, sold 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
gone.
It'll happen to every one of you out there. If it hasn't
Yeah.
happened yet, it will happen to you.
And
Yeah.
that-
It will.
So much from that listing.
We
And
had
so many other things. And then you just develop a thick skin and move on because you really need to do that.
Well, I stopped being, pardon the French, I stopped kissing the seller's ass, like, look, like, you hire me to sell your home, not list your home, anyone can list it for whatever number you want.
That's what I tell people. So what I say to people is, look, I'm gonna be upfront and honest. Sometimes I'm gonna say things to you that you don't like or you don't want to hear, but that's my job. So 80% of the buyers that an agent works with, they meet on a listing, on a sign hanging on your front lawn. Right? They don't care if they sell your house, they're gonna meet a buyer and they're gonna sell another house. I do not hang signs on lawns to pick up buyers. I hang signs on lawns to get you top dollar for your house. Is that not what you want me to do? Right?
That sounds like a Diana Kokoska that I remember.
That
Yes,
is a Diana
yep,
Kokoska.
yepper.
That
It's a good
surely
one.
is.
Good one.
Yeah, it is. So, yeah, communicate with your database. So, I'll tell you, this is how big price is. So about, it's probably back in 2013 or 14, Sandra Chaselin and I listed Farhad Atbin's house in Montague on the lake. He built this big house and he had it with a different agent. He started at $599, $569. And Sandra and I told him $499. No, not a chance. So we finally got him down to $529. And this was when the market, your average days on market were about 90 average. And I said, we need to be at $499 Farhad. We're not, no, so we staged it. And then he said to me, he came to me and he said, okay, what I want to do is I want to put more on the agent's side, the seller's agent, selling agent side. And I said, that's not going to make a difference. It's the price. He said, nope, it's the realtor. I'm not, this is a true story. So I was 2.5 on the listing side. We put 7% to the street. 7%. Do you know how much my phone rang
Oh,
when other realtors saw that? Right? Brenda, what are you doing? Oh, Jesus, okay, yeah. You got a buyer for it? No, but I think you're crazy. What are you doing? It didn't sell. It did not sell. So our deal was, we leave it at 7% for 2 weeks. If it doesn't sell, we go to $499. We were at $499, less than 3 weeks and the house was sold. Right?
because you got below that $500 search bracket.
Well, and here's the other moral of that story is, people believe that's what realtors are like. That we will sell somebody into a house because we make more money.
Right, yeah.
Don't sign your mortgage.
Yeah, that's the belief, because remember, guys, you know, we rank right in with used car salesmen, ambulance chasing lawyers, and realtors. And that's a reality. That is a reality. To succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contact with the database with the intent of building close relationships. Carrie Keller. Has everybody here got a smart plan set up that everyone in their database gets touched at least once a month?
No, but I am doing it this week.
Yep, me too. Work in progress.
Okay.
And like
Coach yesterday yelled,
real work.
You were what?
my coach yesterday yelled at me.
Yeah,
I'm pretty good at like touching them myself in some way or another, not monthly, but at least quarterly.
Mhm.
But that newsletter, he said, a bunch of them are gonna delete it, but it's creating that.
hey, I got like at least 18 unsubscribes last Friday. I don't care. Right? Yeah. Law 3 is communicate systematically, so again, database based on interest, passion, sending things out. The longer you put off initiating these things, scheduling is huge. My coach is huge on scheduling, and I've been challenging a schedule for years, trying to keep to it. We built very, very tight schedules this year for the team. Some days I make it, some days I don't. If I have 2 hours, say a video on a Wednesday that I need to do, I don't get it done, then it's gonna get done on Thursday or Friday or Saturday. I just make it up. Right? So there's always gonna be times where you can't follow your schedule because that's the business we're in, right? And again, that's another thing about Bold. Remember Bold, Alex? Yeah. I'd say, well, what about the clients I'm working with? I need to go out and show houses. Well, you just put them on hold and you pick up that phone. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that too. It's like,
Yeah.
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 But you know what, the thing with Bold is it's good and you take from it what you personally your personality will do. Right? It is full of good ideas, but not necessarily in the same way that we would conduct business. I've always said that.
Bold tries to turn you into a D.
Yeah, Bold
That's
is very
Bold's
D,
objective,
very
is to
D.
make you a D.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not gonna be a D.
no, I'm not either. I'm not either.
I don't agree
Remember
with that, actually.
You do?
You do
agree
or
with
you
it?
don't?
No, I don't. I don't agree that it tries to turn you into a D. I think at the end of the day, you're just paying for accountability. And what it's taught me is just, you need to do something, right? Like, and you got to be consistent. So when you start doing something consistently for, the course is over a period of a month and a half, whatever it is, it's the consistency that I think it teaches you. But again, you get it's what you think of it and what you take away. So each person's gonna be.
Exactly.
The basis of it, I've done Bold 4 times. So.
And
I'm gonna
I've
stick-
done it
I'm gonna
3.
stick to it tries to turn you into a D. Because the first one I took, we were actually told that.
Yeah.
We were actually told that. Yeah. Our job is to pick up the phone and ask for business. That's the job. With no emotion, no nothing, it is the job. Right? And you ask for business. That's a D. In my mind, that's a D.
Yeah.
You can all pick up the phone, like, remember those 5 words I just said, guys? I was just thinking about you. Isn't that a nicer way than picking up the phone and going, hey, it's Brenda, look, I'm just calling on business today. I'm only gonna take 2 minutes of your
It is
time.
true, like, they even pushed, I remember, not this time past, but the time before Bold had its revamp to be more, sensitive to this, to today and age. They told us in Bold that a listing appointment should be under half an hour.
Mhm. Yeah. Everything is time, everything is clinical, everything is, we had
Oh
the
my
last
God.
Bold. The last Bold I did, Kate dictated to me that my team couldn't sit at my table. Guess who won that argument? My team sat with me. Right? And she had me on the phone for about 20 minutes, and I finally said to her, Kate, we're dancing in the same circle over and over again. And I'm having my team at my table. If you have a problem with that, you turn this into an altruistic course, you paid for my team, you sit them wherever you want. Right? Guess what? You're allowed to sit with your team at Bold now, aren't you? You are. They came in, was it the last Bold, I think, Alex, that they allowed it, or the one before?
Well, this one
This one.
here did, and it was the last time we had it in house in 18 that you were there.
Yeah.
That's when you guys had your battle.
Yeah. Oh, she remembers the battle? Kate?
I remember.
Oh, Kate and I got in a few battles in class, by the way, guys.
Yeah, me too.
I think we're all guilty of that.
Yeah. So segment your database, you know, you've got your VIPs, I've got like my 200, I mean, they've got golf, military, investor referral, dog lovers, I mean. Do it however you want. I mean, I have in mine, every system I've ever used during the year, I have a group, I have past clients, I have my top sphere. I even have one called have not mets. Have not mets are people where I grab their card and really haven't sat with them and done much. That's in the red book. So when I first set mine up, I set mine up like the red book. Yeah, have mets, I think it's have mets and have not mets. Yeah, I don't use it anymore. I don't use that one. Again, yeah, see the Same Touch newsletter, that's what I'm talking to, like. I do mine so that it kind of, everybody is going to get something out of it. I also have a monthly news, I have a weekly newsletter. Then I have a monthly newsletter that goes out to the same 5,000 people. And that newsletter also goes out to 200. So does anybody know what geofarming is? Yeah, everybody out there know geofarming, what I mean?
You mean you're like farming your neighborhood?
Yeah, you pick a geographic location based on Paragon stats.
So like area, like Holly, we'd be 40B.
Right.
So it doesn't matter where you live. You, like, for instance, Nadia lives over in Peggy's Cove area. Okay, her geo farm is 200 homes in Spryfield.
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Her geo farm is in Spryfield because that's where the turnover is, right? So we really sit down and study who's doing what, right? My geo farm is where I grew up because there's so many baby boomers in there and seniors, and I love that market. That's my go-to market. So you don't have to have, I mail mine out. So I went on Property Online. I got everybody in the neighborhood. I hand wrote their name and address on my labels. And then I just photocopy the labels. I print off the two and they all get it. So it cost me $200 a month to send that out. You don't have to spend any money on it. Just walk it. And if you don't want to walk 200 right away, just walk 100, right? Put a little bag, like when I used to do open houses years ago, I would go 20 houses on each side, 40 houses across the street, and I'd hang a little bag on their door that had an invitation to the open house, had my business card with a magnet on it, had some Werther candies in it. Right? So just stick it, you can buy the bags on Amazon. Fold your newsletter up and drop it off. Right? You can start with 50, you can start with 25. My point is just start. The first month that mine went out, I got a listing and I sold it. So what did I do is I looked at that and said, okay, 10% of what I made off that deal, I allocate to marketing. So what I picked up in there, that amount on that house, I knew covered 6 months of my mail outs for the next 6 months. So, oh, here it is. There you go. Look, 4 touches quarterly, 12 touches monthly email, 2 touches promotional direct mail, such as a magnet, this, that. And 1 touch, see, there it is, annual event, party, movie screening, get together. Yeah. Guys, you gotta have money to do that. Right? Like even I'm not taking 200 people to a movie. Right? I don't do it. Like I said, this whole event thing started about 5 or 6 years ago. And everybody's doing it. Some of the biggest realtors in the city do not do it. They do not.
Like a lot of these have been built by massive teams like Gene Rivers,
Mhm.
who has a
I'm just gonna get some water. You
Yeah.
keep talking to them.
he has like a quarter of Tampa Bay on his team. So like they have marketing budgets of like 10 to 25 a month. So you gotta like take it, like break it down to like what works for you.
Yeah, agreed, because, you know, none, all of us, I'm sure, don't have, you know, that amount of money to take 200 people to a movie.
No,
Sorry,
Or
guys.
individuals, anyway. Excuse me.
So one of the things that I do is I get cookies made. They're good size, they're a house with a red roof, white around the windows, and they say KW on them. And they are the best tasting cookies you've ever had. They are a shortbread cookie. So every time I go to see somebody, they get 2 cookies. That's just, yeah, it's a great touch, doesn't cost much. It does not cost much. Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be like when you go see somebody, you don't even have to have special cookies made. You know, you can go to any place and get like a little, like I'm thinking of that place on Cole Harbor Road that had, you know, little rows of chocolate, or go to Laura Secord and a couple little things and show up with a little bag, right? So.
Are you talking when you go on your appointments or when you
Yeah,
go to a door?
When I go on my appointments,
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah, and even if it's what I call a discovery appointment. A discovery appointment is just talking real estate. And
Mhm.
kind of figure out, you know, and one of the things I say to people, I was talking to a guy yesterday on the phone that came in through my system, and, you know, I called him out. And your job is to close for an appointment. If you get somebody on the phone, you want to close for an appointment, right? So he's not going to, he started to get a little bit like, so I said, when I was telling him about all the information, and, you know, we've got the package and the book and that, and it's really important to get this information. So he immediately, I could feel him pulling back, right? So I said to him, so most of the people that I do talk with, I just want you to know that, you know, they're anywhere from 6 to 12 to 14 months out of buying a home. It is never too early to get all the information. You may think you're ready in 6, and once you sit with me, you're not ready for 12. You may think you're 12 months away, and once we sit, you're 4 months away. So what time and what day and time would be good for you next week? That's how I end. Yeah. I ask them like, right out, what day and time? Right? I don't say, would you like to get together? Because what's the answer gonna be? Probably not right now. No, I'm not ready. I'm not, right? So as soon as I feel I'm pulling back a little bit, and again, I use that line. I just want to let you know, I am not a pushy in your face agent. I treat people how I like to be treated. Do you know how much that calms people down on the other end of a phone? Who's ever gotten a phone call where somebody's being really pushy, trying to sell you something?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
all these
Yeah.
people that call trying to sell. Like SOIs, so the
Yeah.
Or the system, the lead generating systems, yeah.
Every day, it
Yeah.
drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So leads, though, the 4 touches, like I said, with leads, I always, it's an 8x8, and they go onto my newsletter. And then contacts, 36, 4 touches, telephone calls by week. And here's the thing, and that's why I love this book, Atomic Habits. Like, guys, listen to this book, because what happens, it's people tend to do all or nothing, which I did for years. Oh, shit. I didn't do any. Oh, damn it. Right? So I beat myself up. Just sit down and do 2. Just doing 2 is better than doing nothing. Or if you, like I said, when I first started, and I would call twice a year. I would call Merry Christmas, I would call November, and I would call in the spring. And I never asked for business on those phone calls. Never asked. And this was years ago. This is way before training. Way before coaching for me. So here's your 36 touches a year right there. Yeah. There's all kinds of things that you can get for promotional. I used to spend a lot of money on them. I don't anymore. If you want something evergreen, if you're going to send something to somebody, you want it evergreen and you want it to stick on their fridge. So do you know how many houses I go in and I see another agent's calendar on their fridge and I go, ee, aren't I a bitch? But it's true. Like, and I know you guys are all like, they're going, no, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, you probably would. Yeah, you feel really good because your marketing's worked enough that they have another agent on the fridge and they called you in. That means you worked hard to get your name out there and get that call, right? So one of the girls on the team, she has a magnet that is a measurement converter. Great, right? I have a emergency number magnet. I know you guys can't see me, but Alex, you can see me. Right? So this magnet, for whoever can't see me, is about 4 by 6, I guess.
Something like that.
Yeah. So it's a magnet postcard and it's got all the emergency numbers on for Halifax. Who's gonna throw this out?
We see that.
Yeah, good point.
Alex is gonna have some of these.
Bonus of being the one in-house.
Yeah.
Hey Brenda, my friend in another brokerage, I'm gonna share this. She just got a cool one made up and it's the kind you stick your business card on, like our calendars, but it has front and back things that are poisonous to dogs,
That's
food,
awesome.
plants and everything. And I was
Oh, I
like,
like that.
That's
yeah,
awesome. What I did before these ones is that you stick your business card to grocery list.
Drives me nuts. My brother-in-law just got door knocked by David Dunn. And he gave him.
David Dunn himself.
Or well, somebody, he was given a notepad. Just like to keep in the drawer with, and every page has like David Dunn's logo on it. And his contact info. And like he said, I'm not throwing it out. Like it's a notepad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so you guys, does everybody out there know who David Dunn is?
Yes.
David Dunn is the highest producing realtor in the city. GCI. The highest. And he's door knocking. He's putting things out there. I know he mails things out there too, but your friend actually got door knocked?
That's my understanding.
Where does he live?
In what's the word, not Fairmount adjacent.
So Fairmount, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I need this back. If you
Yeah.
want one, let me know and I'll send you one back.
It's-
I need this for Manish today. He's getting one. So there you go. Right? If you have a buyer, so I only door knock when I have a buyer that's actually looking for that area. So years ago, Mark and Kathy wanted to live on Lake William. So I went on, I can't remember the name of the street, but it's kind of quite an elite street out up Waverly Road. And whoever was home I talked to, and whoever wasn't, I taped a letter to it. I ended up with $1 million listing off that. Mark and Kathy didn't buy anything there, but they did, right? So if you have a buyer, so we have door knocking going out next week. So I have 3 buyers that want South End Halifax, right? So most agents will sit back. Wait, I've already called all the agents that work the South End, right? And then I could be a set it and forget it, Susie, and see what happens. Or I could door knock. So, and I don't get me wrong, I do not like door knocking just to door knock. It's just not me. I can't do it. And when you door knock, if you have a buyer that wants to live in a certain area, and when you door knock, you're talking to them, first of all, have something nice. We have, the bags are all made up. It has a really nice letter in it, has my card, has a couple candies. And if someone answers the door, the script is not, hey, I've got someone who really wants to live in your neighborhood. Are you interested in selling? Right? It's hey, as we know, Halifax is booming right now, and we've got a person coming from BC that loves your neighborhood. Yeah. Do you know anyone in your neighborhood or on your street that may be interested in selling? We don't ask, are they selling? Who do you know that might be selling? Right?
So Brenda,
Mhm.
do you have anything on the other ones that don't answer? Do you hang like a door hanger on
Yeah.
there?
It's a
Okay.
bag. It's a bag I use. You
You-
can get them from Amazon. They have a hole in them. for
Okay, so
hanging
you leave it. Okay, you leave that regardless
I
of
leave
whether
it.
you see them. Okay, good, thanks.
Yeah, even when I used to do my open house ones. I don't like knocking on doors. Right? It's just, I don't like it. So we just hang them on the doors, right? But for this one, next week, there's 2 of us going out. It will be knocking on the doors. It's South End. Right? And we won't knock on all the doors, because the one area that Carolyn wants to be, she's 83. So if I see a 4,000 square foot 3-story house, I'm not gonna knock on that door for Carolyn. Why would I? Right? So yeah, if you guys are working with some buyers and they want to live in a certain area and you can't find them anything, go knock on some doors. Right? Database, smart database. Oh, there it is, databank. Database. Any ahas?
Brenda, I had a question for you. I'm going to go back to my notes here. When you were talking about sending out 200 letters and you said something like, if I could get you so much for your house, would you list this spring? Do you just put are you customizing each of those amounts for the house, or is this just an average price in the neighborhood, or how does that work?
That's just a 1-line email that goes out to my database. So when they email me back, like I got out of that, I got about 6 emails. 4 of them were just stupid, waste of time. One of them I got a hold of and I talked to him and I was up front. He said, look, Brenda, do you think I can get this? And I was like, yeah, no, you're not going to, but he wasn't too far out, but I was up front with him. And then the one I went out and had a listing appointment with.
But did you actually put a price on the email? I
I
think
don't know
is
where
what,
they live. Holly, I don't know where they live. Remember, I'm sending this out to 5,000 people.
oh, so
One
you,
line.
you actually put blank, if I could get you blank?
Yeah, so you're mixing up 2 things. One is my Geo Farm where they get 200 newsletters,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is a 1-line email
Right.
that said, if I could get you blank for your house, would you sell this spring? That went to 5,000 people.
Right. So you actually use the word blank or put a blank line. You
It's a
don't
blank,
put,
it's a line.
okay,
It's a blank
right.
line. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
what
so
do you-
that will go out, that will go out again. We'll use that nonstop.
Okay. And then Brenda, what are you typically spending per gift for those bags that you're hanging on the door, or what is your cost on those things?
I'd have to look it up. I get 1,000 bags. I honestly can't remember. I
Well,
think
not
they're
the
about
price that the
3
bag,
cents.
makes, but
I think they're
like-
about 3 cents.
so but like the cookies say, so you're giving each person that, or
They
you're
don't
not,
get cookies. The cookies don't go in the bag. The bag, I don't want to put, the people get cookies, meet with me in person,
okay.
right?
So the stuff
So-
you're putting in the bag though, and you're saying you want something that they'll hang on to, an evergreen piece. What is your unit cost average on that?
My evergreen piece there, it's been so long since I ordered them. Maybe about $2, just under $2. I think Allison's are less than $1.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while I'm on that, I'm curious, just before we let go here, so my brother bought a house in Milton, Ontario, in Kate's area. Kate knew the realtor, and he might have paid $250 for his house 10 years ago. And my mother keeps talking, oh, his agent gave him a $500 Home Depot gift card. I'm like, okay, I'm not in that realm yet, but what I know I do it as a percentage of what my commission was, but what are people typically averaging when you give a thank you gift to a buyer or a seller? I know, I remember Dale Cameron used to say he doesn't give thank you gifts to sellers. He tells them he puts their thank you gift into marketing the property. But let's say you represent a buyer. What are you spending on a thank you gift?
I'm not a big thank you gift person. I remember when I used to buy years ago, I was spending $99 on a Keurig. And then I remember I bought this Keurig for this couple in Timberley. They bought a semi. And then 3 years later, and I'd stayed in touch with them. And then 3 years later, I saw their house listed with Ian Angus, and I thought, I never bought another Keurig. So, I mean, I work really hard, I do my job, right? And now what we do is I use Blumex. I send a basket, gets delivered to their house. When I didn't have, when I didn't have a lot of money to buy anything, I used to do, I'd say, what day are you moving in? And there was no Uber Eats, okay? So I'd say, what day are you moving in? And they tell me, and I'd show up at their house around noon with 2 or 3 large pizzas and some pop.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
Some people buy $100 gift card, it depends. I mean, if
That's right. I'm usually like a bottle of like respectably priced champagne.
yeah,
And like $100 Kent gift card, Home Depot, Canadian Tire, like
yeah,
whatever is like kind of like right down the road from them. Cause the day they move in, there's gonna be something.
yeah,
Can I share something here?
absolutely.
I'm Sherry's, but I am Flynn. Tanya, my favorite thing is out of all of the real estate transaction is the closing gift. And it can range, but I really like to find something personal. Where I like to refinish furniture, I wait to find an opportunity to, see that someone wants like a specific piece of furniture, and then I try to find it on Facebook Marketplace at a good price and maybe clean it up and give it to them. If it's a horrible client, like I had a client who was doing some really crappy things at the end of it, and I just said thanks and walked away because I never wanted to work with them again. But then I just had like the most magical clients ever, like gamers. They bought a Christmas tree farm, first time home buyers, and I ended up buying them a $300 table that was shaped like a video game controller. And now I'm not going to do that for every client, but not only is that table going to be like the center of attention and my name's going to come up, but the transaction was just so special. But another thing that I like to do is reach out to local artists and be like, hey, can I keep your content? I shouldn't share this, but I am with you guys. If you see someone on Marketplace that is, customizing hats and they're just gorgeous, reach out to them and be like, your work is beautiful. Can I get your contact so when I get the right client, I know this would make a beautiful closing gift. I'd love to gift someone your work one day. And then really just kind of get personal with your closing gifts. That's what I like to do, because then it's like Christmas all year round. But
I do
Yeah.
make them.
I do personal too.
Yeah.
It depends on the client. Absolutely.
so it depends, the cost depends on the client, but supporting locals really good, and trying to personalize it. And then of course, depending on how the transaction went.
I'm getting the sense that I'm probably spending too much. And anyone who was in the last bold session may remember my most challenging client that I've ever had, because they kept coming up. I closed their property in January and I spent 250 on them, but I actually want to be like, we're friends now. I just, the real estate part was, I'm just going to use the word challenging because I don't want to swear. But yeah, we want to hang out together. But yeah, I got them 200 at Posh Pearl, and then they were talking about a local pub that we met at. So I got them a gift card. I'm just like, here you go. I probably lost
much-
money on that, but
How much money do you have in your budget for client gifts?
don't ask me the B word, Brenda.
If you're giving client gifts, you have to have that in your budget.
Yeah, I know.
And when you get, like, it's nice, and I used to do, I think it's sweet. The only ones that get anything personal from me is if, and I'll tell you what, like Janet and Perry, they bought $1 million condo from me. And I went over and I bought the most gorgeous bowl at Made in the Maritimes, right? Everybody else, depending on because as you get busy, here's the things, guys, as you get busy, you need systems and models that work, okay? So I range anywhere from 51 to 72 deals a year. I don't have time to go shopping. I don't have time to get personal gifts for everybody, but I have a great system that works called Blumex, right? And Blumex, you can order anything from, and some of them can be a little chintzy. Sometimes what I do is I order them to my house and I change the wine out. Right? Like I ordered one for David and Marina a couple weeks ago. I got it delivered to my house and I didn't like the wine. I'm a red wine snob. So I put a $50 bottle of Amarone Italian wine in the basket, right? And I put
But
it
you
in the-
kind of have to be sure that the people that you're working with drink alcohol, right? Am I right on that?
Yeah,
Yes.
you
Don't knock somebody off the wagon.
You absolutely do,
Exactly,
Polly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think all these gifts, I think they're great, but I'm not gonna lie, I went years that I didn't do any gifts.
Yeah.
Anna Silva doesn't give gifts out.
I'd be careful with consistency too, especially if you expect referrals.
Yes, absolutely.
Somebody
Think,
for
yeah.
$100 gift, and then they refer you somebody that's near and dear to them, but they only buy a $200,000 semi, and you give them a $50 gift card to Kent. If they start talking, it could look ugly.
It's, you know what I learned, guys, over the years and why I stopped buying gifts? Because it doesn't matter. Buying them a gift is not going to get them to use you again. The first one was a Keurig by a young couple, Ian Angus. Do you know how many, I could probably write at least 20 of those.
I know
Yes.
that pup.
It's your service.
Mommy
It's your
puppy getting
service.
hungry. Oh, sorry.
From-
shit.
That's okay, we're almost done. It's your service and it's your communication. Stay in touch with them, like, yeah, I think the gifts are great, don't get me wrong.
So, yeah, I'd usually bounce it around $100.
That's right.
Whether it's a gift card or whether it's if it's like I had a buddy, it was a box of beer,
Yeah.
honestly, and something else, but it was just like, I knew his move-in day, that's what that was gonna be. And it was
Yeah.
like, Your 2-4 in the fridge for the boys is on me.
Perfect.
I haven't done this yet. I talked to an agent in Ontario who does it. He shows up on closing day morning with X amount of brand new toilet seat covers that the house
I
has.
heard that one. Yeah, I heard that one.
Whether it has one or has 3 baths, be like, here, brand new.
Toilet
Yeah.
seats.
you-
Yeah.
Yeah, brand new
There-
toilet seats.
There's agents out there that give, I mean, now there's Uber Eats. Right? You can send pizzas and pop.
Yeah.
On moving day to it. Yeah, and here's the thing, like, you give them a closing day gift, it's nice. And then if you never talk to them or call them, right? Ours are getting touched 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year. And 1 year through Blumex, they get a bouquet of flowers, happy anniversary bouquet. Right? So, but I remember Ann saying to me years ago that she was the same way. She stopped giving gifts out because you know what? We're doing our job. We're working hard. And you just get to the point where the gifts are not gonna get them coming back to you. If they're special to me, like I said, mine range anywhere from a $50 to $150 basket that's delivered. Yeah, but when I was at your guys' point, like I said, I didn't have the money. I didn't have the money, right? Because every dime I had to try and hold on to put that, like, I love the idea that you did a personal table, I think it's awesome. It's $300. That $300 can be used for more business. It sounds terrible, but that's our business. Our business is to take the money, reinvest it, and get more business, right? And put a system in place that when you guys all want to get to the point that you're doing 30, 40, 50 deals, right? Put a system in place right now where you can get that. But me, honestly, I just got my feelings hurt so friggin' many times. Seeing something that I sold somebody in and got them. But remember when Keurigs came out? I could buy them for $99. There was one client I had, I bought like a crystal bowl. And it just meant so much to me. And I thought we were like friends and this and that. And she sold her house and her sister got her license. Yeah. So if you like, I think it's great if you like to do it. I do not give gifts to my sellers.
No.
I don't. I invest a lot of money in my sellers and, doing my job, but I sat down with Andy Silva years ago and was a little peeved at something one day. And she said, I do my job, I work hard, and I don't give gifts. Now, she may start again, I don't know, this was several years ago that she told me that, but the majority of agents I see. They just what Alex said, they got a card and they got $100 gift certificate in it.
And also-
Brenda, most agents won't remember Prudential Property Specialists.
Oh, I do.
Oh, I
But
do too.
There used to be an agent there and she was really successful. And she was renowned for giving her clients appliances. She bought more dishwashers and freezers for people you couldn't imagine. I don't know what she got out of it, but that was her thing. And
Yeah.
how successful was that? And we're talking 20 years ago.
That's crazy. My favorite gifts that I keep and I still give out to certain people is I give out Tiffany champagne glasses. In the Tiffany box, it costs me $99 and I'll bring in $1,000 worth at a time. And certain people will get a Tiffany box and they all love to keep the Tiffany box.
Right,
they'll-
yeah, yeah.
Like that champagne. And they keep the box forever. But like I said, not other people get something $75 from Blue Mix. You know. Yeah. So whatever you want to give or whatever, feels good, but guys, put it in your budget. I have built into my budget client gifts. And I watch it. Right? Because remember, it comes out of your operating capital. So that's, I guess there's no more ahas and it's 12 o'clock and everyone's probably tired of listening to me.
Oh,
My
you've been
dog's,
awesome,
my
Brenda.
dog is staring at me wanting, I can't even say it out loud or he'll stare at me further.
Walkie, 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 walkie.
No, SUPPER.
Okay.
Just service your database, guys. Build your database. That's what this business, and just remember, every single morning you wake up, you're unemployed. You're unemployed until you get somebody at the top of your funnel to the bottom of your funnel. Right? Every time you finish a deal, you're unemployed again. Yeah, and
Hey,
that's not.
thanks, Brenda. Great session as
Yeah.
usual.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
and I don't want anyone to think that it's, I love what I do. Anybody that knows me knows I really love what I do. You guys are so, and I don't ever mean to sound cynical. You guys are so lucky that you're starting where you're starting and you get to listen to agents like Grant and Susan and Ann and all these agents that have not had this kind of training until we got to KW. Yeah, and I'll let you guys know. This is no word of a lie. This is still a struggle for me. And there are agents on this call that know me well and have worked with me. I still struggle to make my calls. I still struggle. It never gets easy. It never goes away. But if you pick up your phone and you start calling people and you start talking to people, your business will grow. Yeah. Get the book Atomic Habits from Audible, put it in your car and listen to it. It's one of the best ones I've listened to in a long time. I just finished it yesterday.
And have on you. Holy moly, like. I was dealing with a guy the other day and I wanted his business card and I know he has them and he didn't have one. And it was just like frustrating.
Did you give him yours?
Yes.
Okay. You know
Right.
what I do?
Yeah.
I take my card and write his information on the back. Yeah.
Have your cards on you.
I always have cards on me, but I very rarely, 250 business cards can last, can last me a couple years. They honestly can. So remember what Gary Keller said, right? You want their card. If they don't have a card, take one of yours, write their info on the back and keep it. You can give them one of yours too, but keep it. But honestly, yeah, I order business cards maybe every 2 years. So anyways, guys, that's it for me for Ignite. Oh, no, I think I got one more in a few weeks. Yeah. Yeah. So everybody have a great day and yeah,
Make your call.
make your calls.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's a great session. It's always
Thank you.
invaluable.
Thank you.